Lars Larsen was born in Copenhagen, Denmark in 1849. He became interested in carpentry, but there were very few jobs in Denmark. Many people were going to America to find opportunity. Lars left Denmark at age of 21 in 1870. He was alone. He took a small boat from Copenhagen, Denmark to Glasgow, England. There, he boarded the steamer Iowa, traveling in steerage, which is the cheapest ticket and worst accommodations. He carried $40 with him. It took 18 days to get to America, but first he had to be processed at Ellis Island. It was very crowded. There were hundreds of people going through that day. Because he was young, strong, and healthy, he passed all the health exams quickly. They asked him a lot of questions about why he was there and what his plans were. Finally, they let him go into the city of New York. He was excited to work as a carpenter and build wonderful things. He walked through the city of New York for 5 days and used up all his money. Finally, he had a job as a carpenter, but it only lasted a few days. Occasionally he found odd jobs, but they only lasted a few days. He was homeless for 6 months in New York. He spent most of his time in the Five Points area of Manhattan. Sometimes he slept in a cemetery, and sometimes he slept in public areas. Sometimes he lived on fallen apples, and sometimes he got food by scavenging and also by getting handouts from a nice restaurant. One night it was cold, so he got into a freight train car. When he woke up, the train was moving fast. Then the train finally stopped in Braddock, Pennsylvania. He got off the train and found out that a new steel factory was hiring workers. It was called Carnegie Steel Company. He was excited to finally have a steady employment and a consistent income. He was required to work 12-hour shifts 7 days a week. It was winter time. He sweats all day at work and shivered at night. Lars slept on the floor in an apartment full of steelworkers. He only had one blanket. His job paid $10 a week. After paying rent and food, he could not save any money. He was always tired. One day he was especially tired. While working, he lost his balance and slipped into a fire that was heating up the steel. His foot was so badly burned that he could not stand up to do his job. He was dismissed from work. He had no money for a doctor. All he could do was beg. As Lars sat in the cold hoping for mercy, he thought of his family and friends in Denmark, who had shelter and plenty of food. When he left, they were so happy for him to be able to come to the land of opportunity and prosperity. He now realized that coming to America was a big mistake. For him, the American dream was a bad dream, a nightmare. He knew now that there was no future for him in America. A week later, while sitting begging for help, he fell asleep. The next day he was found dead. Lars was buried with other steelworkers who died that winter in a common grave. He died at age of 21. His family never heard of what happened to him again.